Welcome the timeless forgotten mystery. On November 24, 1971, in America, a Northwest Orient Airlines flight took off from Portland. It was supposed to be a short 30-minute trip to Seattle with just 36 passengers and 6 crew members on board. But no one knew that among them was a hijacker, D.B. Cooper. He looked like an ordinary businessman, dressed in a suit, white shirt, and black pants, appearing to be in his mid-40s. He deliberately chose the last row of the plane, seat 18E. Shortly after takeoff, he introduced himself to an air hostess named Florence Schaffner, smiling as he handed her a note. At first, she thought he was flirting and tucked the note away without reading it. But Cooper leaned toward her and insisted she read it. The note said in neat handwriting, "Miss, I have a bomb in my briefcase and I want you to sit by me." When she sat down, unsure if he was serious, Cooper opened his suitcase to reveal red cylinders, wires, and a large battery. There was no doubt, it was a bomb. He calmly laid out his demands: $200,000 in cash by 5 p.m., packed in a bag, along with 2 front parachutes and 2 back parachutes. He also wanted a fuel truck ready once they landed. If anyone tried anything unusual, he warned, he would blow up the plane. Schaffner discreetly went to the cockpit to inform the pilots. Another hostess, Tina Mucklow, was told to sit beside Cooper to keep communication flowing. The pilots immediately alerted air traffic control, and soon the airline's president, Donald Nyrob, was informed. He made the decision to comply with Cooper's demands to protect the airline's reputation and prevent global panic. With help from the FBI, a Seattle bank prepared the ransom money, carefully recording the serial numbers of every bill. Since the money would take time to prepare, the pilots were told to circle Seattle instead of landing. What was meant to be a half-hour flight stretched to 3 hours. Passengers remained unaware, told only that the plane was delayed due to minor technical issues. Finally, at 5:46 p.m., the plane landed in Seattle. Parked far from the terminal, it was met by an airline representative carrying the money and parachutes. After receiving them, Cooper allowed all passengers and most crew to leave, keeping only Tina with him. The plane was refueled and once again took off, this time with just the pilots, Cooper, and Tina on board. Cooper instructed the pilots to head toward Mexico City at 10,000 feet, with the plane flying as slowly as possible and its wings tilted at 15 degrees. Despite the pilot's warning of limited fuel, Cooper insisted on his plan. He then told Tina to lock herself in the cockpit. Alone, he prepared the parachutes and opened the rear staircase of the Boeing 727, a unique feature of this aircraft. At 8:13 p.m., the cockpit warning light flashed, signaling that the stairs had been deployed. Moments later, the plane jolted upward. Cooper had jumped, disappearing into the stormy night with the money strapped to him. The pilots landed safely in Reno, Nevada, where police searched the plane. They found Cooper's black tie clip, cigarette butts, and scraps of parachute material he had used to wrap the money, but no sign of Cooper, his suitcase, or the ransom. The FBI launched one of the longest investigations in its history. Over 66 unidentified fingerprints were found, but no trace of Cooper himself. The case stretched on for decades, officially closing in 2016 after 45 years, with many questions still unanswered. This hijacking was unlike any other. No one was harmed, no panic broke out, and most passengers never even realized what was happening. Many credit Tina Mucklow for keeping Cooper calm and preventing chaos. Co-pilot Ratakzak later said, "She was so calm and collected, I couldn't think of anyone better to sit next to a man committing such a crime." Interestingly, Cooper had given the name Dan Cooper, but due to a journalist's mistake, he became known worldwide as D.B. Cooper. This wrong name stuck, a result of psychological anchoring, people holding on to the first piece of information they hear. Experts debated for years whether Cooper could have survived. Conditions were harsh: rain, freezing winds, pitch darkness, rough terrain, and Cooper's business suit made survival seem unlikely. But later hijackers copied his method, jumping from planes at even higher speeds, and survived. This led investigators to believe Cooper may have lived, especially since he clearly knew how to use parachutes without instructions. Search efforts focused on the Washington forests, lakes, and rivers. The FBI tracked the marked $20 bills given to Cooper, circulating their serial numbers across banks and casinos. 4 years, no trace appeared. Then, in 1980, an 8-year-old boy found $5,800 in $20 bills buried on the banks of the Columbia River. The serial numbers matched the ransom. The discovery reignited theories. Had Cooper drowned, Or had he survived and lost some of the money in the river? The Ty Cooper left behind offered another clue. In 2009, scientists analyzed it, finding microscopic titanium particles used in aircraft manufacturing. This suggested Cooper might have worked in the aerospace industry, possibly even at Boeing. The FBI released sketches of Cooper based on witness descriptions, refining them over time. Theories about his identity multiplied. Among the main suspects was Richard McCoy, a Vietnam veteran who hijacked a Boeing 727 months later in a similar style, demanding $500,000 and parachuting away. But McCoy was caught within days, and evidence later showed he was not Cooper. Another prime suspect was Robert Rackstraw, also a Vietnam veteran with a criminal background. A 2016 book and History Channel documentary argued he was Cooper, but again, no solid evidence confirmed it. Over the years, more than 800 suspects were considered, but none proved to be D.B. Cooper. His fate remains one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. Was he killed in the jump? Did he drown in the river? Or did he escape, blending back into society with a new identity? Even today, no one knows. D.B. Cooper remains a legend, the man who pulled off the only unsolved hijacking in U.S. history and vanished without a trace. So what do you think? Did D.B. Cooper survive his daring escape, or did his leap into the storm mark the end of the story? The truth may never be known.